away, cause the dreams bring back all the memories. And the memories bring back home. There's a time that I remember, and I did not know the pain. When I believed in forever, everything will stay the same. Now my hope feel like December, till somebody say your name. And I can't reach out to call you, and I know I will one day. Hey. Everybody hurts sometimes, everybody hurts someday. Hey, hey. Everything gon' be alright, only the best will say. Hey. Here's to the ones that we got. Here's to the wish you were here tonight. Cause the dreams bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones that we made. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way. Cause the dreams bring back all the memories. And the memories bring back. Back is a gun, back is a gun, back is a gun. Memories bring back, memories bring back. Back is a gun, back is a gun, back is a gun. Memories bring back, memories bring back. Back is a gun, back is a gun, back is a gun. Memories bring back, memories bring back. There's a time that I remember when I never felt so low. And I felt all the hatred just to go for a start. And my heart feel like an ember, and it's not enough to die. I carry these torches for you, but you know I'll never try. Yeah, everybody hurts sometimes, everybody hurts someday. Hey, hey. Everything gon' be alright, only the best will say. Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here tonight. Cause the dreams bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones in today. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way. Cause the dreams bring back all the memories. And the memories bring back, memories bring back.
Hi there.
For the fish.
Well, good morning. How's everybody? Nice to be here. Nice to have you all in the house. Banks are not your friends, Rainer Trapper, the blind fish keeper. I was talking about you just yesterday. We were talking about sensory deprivation and how it really does not affect one's enjoyment of this hobby or ability to participate in it. So delighted to have you here. Glass Box Fox. Doob's World. Hello, Doob's World. Killicocty. Hi, Killicocty. Let's see. I need to get over on the YouTube channel. That'll be better. Hi, 3G. Nice to see you. Hannah Robinson. Hannah posted a picture on Discord, this morning of a tank in her home that absolutely, when I looked at it, I thought This has got to be in a public aquarium or some major display somewhere. I don't know how big the tank is. She hadn't told me yet, but it looks to be 10 feet long. And it is thick with Vallisneria, front to back, end to end. It's an amazing, amazing looking tank. I'm hoping to get a lot more pictures of it. I want to try to bring it up. Let's see if I can do that. I think, whoops. Okay. Oh my God. Look at this here. Look at that. Is that astounding or what? Let's see. 14 feet long, 3 feet tall. Oh, my word. October last year. Gorgeous driftwood. Look at the driftwood. It's a deep substrate. She said it's father fish inspired in her living room, no less. Let's see if I show you the other picture. Look at that. Look at that. Is that amazing or what? Let me get it bigger. Well, I'll tell you what, that's about the most impressive thing I have seen in a very long time. Just remarkable, Hannah. Very remarkable. Banks are not your friends. Been a while since I've caught one of these. Nice to have you here. Mach 389. Hello, hello. J-Dog. Hey, J-Dog. SG, good morning. Good morning. Randy Cock, good morning. 14 feet long. Let's see. Lateralis 7L. Lateralis is new. We're going to have to make a moderator out of him. Give you a wrench, Lateralis. We're Dunlap. Isn't that a spectacular tank? Just astounding. Blind Fish Keeper says, I still get just as excited over my tanks in my projects as I ever did while I could see. We're only restricted by our own self-confidence. Amen to that. Zero Aquatics. Good morning, Zero Aquatics. Let's get Zero Aquatics a wrench. Everybody gets a wrench around here. Nobody gets left out. And if you abuse it, you just get kicked out. That's all. Very simple. Nato Aquarium guy. Good morning. Good morning. Been lurking. Like your work. Thank you, Lateralis. Carter Bing. So another newbie. Got a bunch of newbies this morning. Nice to see you, Carter. Oh, let's go back a little bit. Let's see. Fish and Tactics is here. Maidens, tails, furs, and fins. Jessie asked me if I would show her how to put the clip in before the stream. I don't know how to do that. Naresh does that for me, and I don't know where he is. He was here this morning, and now he's gone. He's probably running his shop or something. Naresh is a 20-year-old young man who lives in Sri Lanka who put together that video I played at the beginning. He did that, golly, last February, I think. Knocked my socks off. It must have taken him days and weeks to produce that. He found pictures I didn't even know I had. He had to have gone on Facebook. I don't know if he got into my computer. I don't know what he did, but he got some amazing, amazing photographs and videos and put them all together in a really brilliant study on the Fatherfish Aquarium shop. And that's really what it was about. There are a few other pictures in there that are not related to the shop, but really not many. There's one of me collecting 25 years ago. That's the one in the red shirt. That shirt, by the way, is a Moat Marine staff T-shirt that I still have worn for nearly 30 years now. Also, there was a picture with my mother of myself, my mother, and my mother and me, which she's been gone many years, so that was very touching to have that included. So anyway, Naresh is just a remarkable young man. He's been able to help me in many, many ways, and I've tried to help him in some small ways. Um, and he has used uh, those bits of assistance I've given him to open a store, a retail store selling school supplies and various services. So quite a remarkable entrepreneurial young man who just has a heart of gold. I want to know when you're going to marry that beautiful girlfriend you have, Naresh. She is quite quite a lovely young lady. Yeah, right. So back to the end here. Um, Word says, I'm sure YouTube has a tutorial. It's probably something very simple that you can find right on the live stream utility, YouTube utility. Randy Cook, it's Cook. I don't know what he's referring to. Cook in German. Cook, maybe. Did you ever wind up seeing the cave on Discord, Father Fish? This Dube's World. I'm not sure if that's what. No, I didn't. Um, Gee, post the link to that, Dube. I've been all over it, and I don't know. Is it under photos and videos? I haven't seen it. I've been on there a lot, but just missed it, I guess. So, Carter Bing. Nice to see you, Carter Bing. Randy Cook. Randy Cook. Oh, okay. Randy Cook. Not Coke. Coach. Cook. I think I get that from the coach. What's referred to as the Coke or Coach brothers. Same spelling. I guess that's an English bastardization of the German. Cook. I got it. Carter Bing. Carter Bing needs a wrench. It's coming. Zero Aquatics. Coming. Some of these come quickly and some don't. Lateralias. Coming. Got all these new people trying to get in wrenches, and it's going very slow. That's YouTube. That's not me. Everyone listening in. Good morning, everyone listening in, says Mary Page. Hi, Mary Page. Nice to see you. And thank you so much for last night. That was wonderful. We played Cassie B's Halloween song at the end. It just delightful. And Mary mentioned that we need to have a reunion, and I'm absolutely up for that. That would be delightful. Oh, there's the link. Let's see. Are there dwarf valves? Are there dwarf valves? There is a dwarf sword. So I'll have that camera on. There's a dwarf sword that gets maybe an inch tall. I'm not aware of the old corkscrew valve doesn't get very big. That only gets 7 or 8 inches long. It's all the photos and videos, he says. Let's see if I can get it to come up. click on his link. We got something. Slowly, slowly. Look at this. Okay, we're looking at a cave. Oh my. Now, is this... We were looking yesterday at a video that... Who had it? Chris, I think, had it. Of a geode or a... Oh, this is wonderful. Look at that. That's really remarkable. How pretty. How dramatic. It's really a two-level substrate, isn't it? Really impressive. See the sand on the side? Now that's 6 inches off the bottom. Wow. Wow. Nice. Very nice. Really impressive. Oh, my fish tanks aquarium. Good morning, dirty dirted fishy folks. Good morning to you, my fish tanks. Katrina Nenning. Hello, Katrina. Nice to see you. Good to have you with us. The Godfather, huh? Dude's World. Much appreciated coming. The Godfather. Dwarf Valves. Who was that? We're Dunlap. Corkscrew Val is hardly available anymore because the Jungle Val is just kind of taken over, and it has some of the same corkscrew characteristics, and of course it gets 3 feet long. But the corkscrew Val is a fairly low growing plant. It's not 2 or 3 inches though. I don't think there's a Val that's that short. There are swords, and lots of other plants that are short, but that ain't one of them. Generally speaking, the stem plants are not short plants either. They grow. They just keep growing in usually one long stem that goes on and on. May branch out. A lot of them do branch out, but the base stem can be infinitely long. Word Dunlap, should someone select valves and breed for compactness? I'm not aware of anyone breeding aquatic plants or raising aquatic plants for particular characteristics, with the possible exception of the Ledwigia. There's a wide variety of Ledwigia. And I'm sure some of them have been bred for color. There's some really very, very bright red ones. So I rather expect that that's the case. But other than that, I'm really not aware of any plants that have been bred for that have been selectively bred for any particular characteristics. That would be an interesting project, and my hunch is it could show results very quickly. I mean, there's enough genetic research going on in the area of plants for there to be a lot of support for that kind of research and that kind of work. And it could easily be done by a local hobbyist. It wouldn't require a big farm to be able to do it, because you can work with very small numbers of plants. And the simplest way is to look for morphs. And that's probably the real problem, because morphology in in fauna, in flora rather, morphology in flora is probably very uncommon, particularly in aquatic flora. I cannot think of any plants that I have seen that have not looked like every other plant of its species. Interesting. Well worth the effort. And I'm sure there are ways to trigger morphology. I'm not aware of it, but I'm sure there are. But we need to work on that word, Dunlap. That's a really exciting concept. Tennessee Aqua, good morning, good morning. Deborah Shear, Randy Cook. Ah, I love the corkscrew valve. Tried to grow up before I found you and it died. Wish I could get my hands on it again. It's I think it's not grown because it has just kind of fallen in popularity behind some of the jungle valves, particularly what is it called? There's a jungle corkscrew. Don't remember. It's not called a corkscrew, but it's something similar. And it's really quite nice. It gets very long, it's thin, it kind of curls. Pretty plant. But you're right, not like the original corkscrew. We need to get more of them. I will talk with my farmer supplier and see if he has any or can get it going again. It's something that needs not to fall out of the hobby. Colchicine to serate more mutations than select for desirable mutations, speed it up. That's interesting. Colchicine creates mutations. Wow, cool. So there you go. We're on the way. Lots of mutagenic substances. Wear gloves, says Swear Dunlap. I'll bet you wouldn't want your fingers to turn into fins, would you? ABC, hi there. Nice to see you. Lurking while working. Aquatic Biotope Creations. Dube's World said you can do amazing things with plants just experimenting with different temperatures and light. Roman Chirac. I was so surprised to see how tiny creatures survive in aquariums despite having a 50 plus tetra population. I recently removed some potted plants and found scubs swimming about in the tubs. Well, they're smart little critters. They know when to come out, typically at night. They're pretty secretive and don't get out there where they're going to get gobbled up. So yeah, the scuds are eaten occasionally if they have any way to be able to hide. Colchicine is also used to treat gout. My. Thinking about going with pencilfish and cardinals with my discus. Any concerns? Gee, that's interesting. Well, they're both really tiny fish. Inch to an inch and a half long. And you're putting them in with fish that'll get 7 to 8 inches. So that's kind of dramatic. I think what happens is they get lost. You don't see them. It's difficult to set that kind of a mixed population up so that they really show off. You need generally a very large number of the small fish to be able to make it work, particularly if you have a lot of plant material in the tank. If there's substantial cover, then you're rarely going to see the pencil fish. The cardinals will be moving around more, so they'll be more visible. But the pencil fish, much less so. They hang at the top. They tend to be rather secretive, and they don't dart around. They just sort of stay in one position. I I think they would be safe, although a big fish is a big fish. Generally, the discus are not particularly aggressive or predaceous. I don't know. That's something you're just going to have to try and see. And in the process, try to make it work by trying to make the little fish more visible. That'll be an interesting project. Keep us posted on that. In fact, if you want to go over to Discord, you can post regular pictures or videos about that project. That would be really interesting. Tanks are akin to the Galapagos Islands. We have millions of isolated ecosystems to create unique species. That's really interesting. Yeah, you're right. There are only a few fish that we really make an effort to do that with, however, like guppies, some of the other live bearers, angels, certainly. What else? Well, there's more being done with South American cichlids. Nothing at all with Africans that I'm aware of, with the possible exception of the frontosa that has the blotch pattern on it. What's that referred to? Somebody will have it. I can't think of it. It's a spider. Um, um, Gee whiz. Ah, brain's gone. Dried dragonfly larvae above the waterline of my outdoor pond. Um, that is not dried dragonfly larvae, probably. That is the husk of the larvae that has become a dragonfly. Father Fish. Hello. Oh my. Black Widow. Thank you, Ladder Ellis. Knew somebody would have it. Rohan, why did they not? Are they actually dead, or is it the husk? 3G got the Black Widow too. I can't imagine why, unless there was something that prevented them from being able to break out of the shell. I don't know. Let's see. There are cases in which that happens, in which an animal cannot break out of its shell to metamorph into its mature form. Don't know. Rohan says, "Oh my." Yeah, my hunch is it's a husk, just an empty shell. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, I would assume that dragonfly larvae in northern India, in the Himalayas, where Rohan is from, would tend to be pretty hardy. Hello, Devil Dog. Nice to see you. Good to have you with us. Roman is saying, The scuds came out of the bottom of the pots and plants. They were swimming around in the wash basin where I was temporarily keeping the pot storing aquarium cleaning. Yeah, they're uh, when you catch them in the wild, you pick up a rock and they would be on the rock. They'll be clinging to the rock, kind of scooting around on it. That's usually how they're collected. You don't really collect them with a net. You pick up a rock, shake it in the water, and you'll have them. Trying to establish a colony of daphnia magna in my 75-gallon, but they die within 3 days every time I put a few in. Why won't they live? John Heaton. What are you feeding them, John? And is this, you're doing this indoors in a 75-gallon tank? Try this. Try putting a bucket in the sunlight. If you can't put it outside because of the cold, put it in a window, maybe a porch that's semi-heated that doesn't freeze. Let them get sunlight, and then what do you feed? What are you feeding them? You know what it might be? It might not be dragonfly, Rohan. It might be, what's the little fly called? The old brain ain't working real well this morning. Names escape me. Titsy fly. No, not that. What is it? What's the smaller fly? Isabella, hello, hello. Nice to see you. So if it were smaller in size, it probably is not a dragonfly. It probably is a mayfly. There it is, a mayfly. Yes, where Dunlap got it, right. And Lateral says mosquitoes. Good guess. Well, they leave husks too, don't they? So anyway, with let's see. Da-da-da-da. Who was doing? Here it is. John Heaton with the Magna, the Daphnia Magna. I try it. Don't put it in the tank. Try it in a bucket or a jar, something in a window where it's going to get a lot of direct sunlight. Put some dirt in the bottom of it. See if you get a culture going that way. That'll work. That should work much, much better. They're probably dying for lack of food. More likely that than anything else. They're just not the right kind of environment. They require a lot of light, and I'm not sure that it's the light they require or what they eat requires the light. Like for example, a green water single-celled algae, which is a primary food source for daphnia. Anyway, try that and see how it goes. Post the results of that over on Discord for us so we can get a look at that and see if we can help out. Rainer Trofer, how many guppy pairs do I need to start a breeding line that I can breed over a long period of time without having problems with inbreeding? Here's the problem, Rainer. If you want them to breed true, then you're stuck with a limited number of times you can breed them. Now, you can breed the same pair over and over and over and over and over again. It's the offspring breeding back. I don't remember what the rule is. I think every 5 generations, you breed out to something that is not related. So every 5 generations, you're you're um, you're bringing in new genetics. Now, obviously, that throws the whole strain into a cocked hat because you wind up losing the purity of the strain. But the alternative is to produce weaker and weaker progeny. So it ain't easy, McGee. Most guppy breeders will breed a line, get excited about it, move it forward a few generations, and then branch off into something else. They don't try to keep a specific line going indefinitely. They're more interested in creating a line, maybe get it out, sell that line, get it out to a lot of people, and then keep moving forward with new morphs, uh, different, and try to develop different strains that way. So in that scenario, a strain lasts maybe 5 generations, 10 generations. That is, per, um, what's the word I want to use? Generations. Father to son to father to son, mother daughter to mother daughter, and just down the line. Uh, Generally, in that process, they'll breed back either to to an earlier father. 239. Another. I'm getting calls this morning. Father Fish.
Hey Lou, it's Gina.
Hi, Gina.
Hey, are you available to give me a ride to Sarah's house?
Yeah, but I'm not right now. I won't be free for about half an hour.
Okay. I'll just wait. Just let me know.
Okay, I'll come get you. Alrighty, you bet.
Bye.
It's my neighbor. I have one line of my own strain copy currently working on my second. Doom said Father Fish is always spot on. Fish often marry their own grandpa. Indeed, they do. Now, here's a question for you. Why do you not? Why do you not breed a son with a mother or a grandmother, for that matter, or an aunt, maybe? Why do you not do that? Let's see if anybody can get this one. Whereas, why do you breed a father with a daughter or a grandfather with a daughter? You move forward that way, you never move backward. Why is that? See if anybody gets this. When you see mayflies here, you hit the rivers, lakes, and streams for sustenance. The fish go on to feeding frenzies. Yeah, that's absolutely right. When the mayflies are out, the fish are out, and the trout are out. And it's a wonderful time to fly fish, to fly cast. How many guppies? This is Rainer. Do we know we did that? You can't do it over a long period of time. I mean, you can do it now. There are some strains that have been maintained. The German, the half black, the red half black guppy with the iridescent blue dorsal fin and a red fantail, half to 3/4 black body. I was breeding that line of fish in 1964, 1964. That was a long time ago. That was nearly 60 years ago. That same fish exists today. Now, what I've noticed about it is it's gone through a lot of transitions. It's a very easy fish to be able to genetically create. It was one of the earliest of the fancy guppies, and its genetics are fairly simple to duplicate. So it's not literally the same strain from 60 years ago. It's a completely different strain and probably completely different genetics. But they have produced that red tail, black body, blue iridescent dorsal. That's a fairly simple thing to duplicate. And you can mix and match a lot of things to make that happen. So that's another way to understand guppy genetics, that you really can mix and match and create what you're looking for without having to have an original strain. Rainer, current breeding project is red, blue, yellow tiger guppies in the F3 generation. Excellent, excellent. The tiger guppies. There's um, a whole new series of strains of guppies that have been coming out of Japan for the last couple of years that are just light years ahead of it what anybody else has been able to do with guppies. And I think as they move into genetically move into the hobby, they're going to dramatically change what we're able to do with guppies. It's just really, really remarkable. Bigfoot fish tanks. Hello, hello. Nice to see you. Deborah Shear, red, blue, yellow guppies sound so pretty. There are so many pretty guppies. A mitochondrial DNA is inherited exclusive through the maternal lines. This part carries your basic cellular blueprints and instruction. True, but that doesn't answer my question. My question is, why do you never breed a son to a mother, but you always breed a father to a daughter? Why is that? A new local Austin. Hello, hello. Nicole, I like half moons with large tails. Oh, I do too. They are stunning. All right. Deborah gave up. I don't know. Tell us. Isabella says genetic problems. Nope. Good guess. Word Dunlap. Mules. Nope. Not it. Let's see. A couple of different. All right. I'm going to tell you. It is because when a fish breeds, it can have multiple partners, and its embryo can carry the genes from previous matings. So to breed to a mated guppy will almost invariably create a mixed genetic offspring. So you won't be able to breed true, in other words. You breed to a virgin, there's the answer. You breed to a virgin. You don't breed to a mother, to a fish that has had offspring, because the genetics could be mixed and probably would be. The mother carries the genetics. She continues to carry the genetics of the males that she is bred with, or at least is likely to. And Dube's World said by breeding forward, you get the results you want. That's right. If you're breeding true, if you're breeding father to daughter, then you're reinforcing the genetics. You're reinforcing the line. And so in 3 generations, you got a pure strain that you can carry for maybe 5 generations after that. Would a super fancy guppy be harder to keep and have more issues? Absolutely. Absolutely. I've got a tank of them in back of me. I don't know if you can see them in here. These are not super fancies. They are fancies. And they're actually looking really good. I don't know how I managed to look out. The bet is knocking a few of their fins. But they're generally looking really good. I've only got 2 or 3 females in here. I need to get more females so I can get some of this stuff going and then maybe begin pulling things out. I don't have any like I do have a couple of nice ones, however. There's one here that I like. It's got a wide tail, a lot of black and red on the tail. So whew. Ward Dunlop never thought they would be part of the riddle. Oh, Dube's World said he got it. Well, that's right. You get the results you want. Yeah, you got it, but you didn't get why. But you got it. I mean, you didn't get why it wouldn't work going back. Theoretically, it should be the same. Theoretically, mother to son or father to daughter could genetically be the same. But it really depends on that female and what she has been bred to. Now, if it's pure strain, pure line, you can do it without any difficulty. But when you're putting a line together, you can't do it because you're going to get mixed genetics. And you want to create pure genetics, so you want to limit it by going forward, male to female. What else? GRB, hello, nice to see you. Milligan and Sons, as the livestock farmer says, if it works, it's line breeding. If it don't, it's inbreeding. Like that. What's the difference between line breeding and inbreeding? Excellent. The result. Do you have any plant recommendations for a brackish tank? That's really excellent. That's Mo M. Plant recommendations for a brackish tank. Well, a lot of the plants that we have are found in brackish water. The Amazon sword, for example, is found in northern Florida in Crystal River, which is a brackish river, growing in huge matted plants. So Amazon sword is one. Sagittarius likes hard water. Ludwigia likes hard water. There are a lot of plants that don't. Java fern, Java moss, Aponogetans. None of those like salt in the water. What you can do? A lot of the stem plants, Cabambas, Anacris, all of those do really well. in brackish water. If you kind of start along those lines, start with anacris and maybe kabamba. Get it going that way. And then things like frog's bit, that generally works. What else? You have to kind of experiment with it beyond that. You need to try different things. Generally, stem plants will do pretty well in brackish water. Some may not, but generally speaking, stem plants will work pretty well. Anyway, try those, see how it goes, and then experiment with it. Beyond that, try, you do one little plant at a time and see how it does. Dube's World is saying guppies can get pregnant super early, a few weeks, take more than a few weeks, about 2 months. But it does create a real problem uh, when you're raising them up and you want to keep virgins, because you got to be pulling those males out before they mature. Once that ventral fin begins to separate from the body and starts to become a male gondopodium, that fish needs to come out before it matures, because once it matures, it's everywhere. So you got to be really cautious, and you can begin to see that 3 weeks or so, maybe as early as 2 weeks. Really depends on how heavily you're feeding them. Depends on the strain itself and how fast it matures. But the critical thing is to pull the males. Don't try to pull the females, because you'll get fooled every time. Pull the males as they begin to develop a gondopodium, and put them in a tank all by themselves. Keep all the males together. Doesn't matter. Unless you really want to follow the genetics very tightly. Doesn't matter mixing them. Father Fish.
Hey, sorry, Lou. I got to write to someone else.
Oh, very good. Okay, Gina.
Okay.
You bet.
Okay, bye.
Somebody was asking about my neighbor. It's not my neighbor. It's my roommate, Leonard. Leonard Hahn is in the hospital. Had a very strange thing happen. He has had fluid on his lungs for the last year and a half or so, and has had to go in periodically to have it drained. Apparently, an air bubble got into a vein. When they examined him, they found an air pocket in his brain. And that's what caused the apparent stroke, some kind of stroke, the ETM said. So they've dealt with that. That no longer is an issue. He's 93 years old. So we'll see whether he's able to regain his ability to walk, because that's what he lost. But it's possible it's not. Venice Hospital. I think I know what that's about. No one deal with it. Anyway, we're just praying for him. His daughter is here. She visited him last night. She would be going back over there today. As soon as I get off here, I need to help her get around and do some errands. But we're just hoping and praying at this time. Let's see. Is temperature really important for raising ram fries? It absolutely is. Ram will not survive below 80 degrees. I like to keep them at 82 plus. Ram fry will simply die if it's like 75, 78 79 like that. They just will not survive. So yeah, you got to keep the water warm with ram fry. Whip's World tried my hand at guppies. The males died inside a week, but they were in there long enough to knock the females up, or so I thought. Mine were fancy blues, but the fry are almost every color but. So you simply did not get a pure strain. You got mixed semi fancies or mixed fancies. The only way to really be sure to get pure strain is to buy them from a breeder. Aquabid and Get Gills. I don't know how many you're on. Get Gills. Aquabid is a good place to locate purebred, pure strain guppies. I've had a few. My favorite was the Japanese grass guppy. Beautiful fish, pure strain, just bred true. Really, really nice. I should start a second line with my F1s to keep breeding my color. Yeah, for sure. You wanna have a number of things going on at once. So you need to keep records. It's really critical to keep records and to have a multiple of tanks. You need to have as many tanks as you can possibly handle. 10-gallon tanks. You don't need anything bigger. 10-gallon is fine. You can even do fives. 10s are simply easier, cheaper, simpler to do. But you need as many as you can possibly squeeze into your fish room because you need to be separating all the time and then marking the tank, keeping a log, knowing what you're doing. Record keeping is absolutely critical for line breeding guppies. It is fundamental. You cannot do it without record keeping because you'll get mixed up. By the time you're into the third generation, it's gone. You've lost whatever it is, unless you know exactly which fish is what. Praying is good. Deed it is. Deed it is. Rohan's hygrophilia is about to bloom. You'll need to post those pictures. I have a few strains of pure line guppies. Yeah, Jess has some nice guppies. She's been able to do. She knows more about guppies, certainly, than I do. Record keeping is 99% science. Ain't that the truth? Absolutely. Some seawater algae tolerate less salt. You know, I have not tried to do macroalgae in brackish. They're not found in brackish typically. Some of the, like turtle grass, is found in brackish, but the macroalgae, I've seen them in bays, so they can handle some variation in salinity. It would be worth a try. I don't have a brackish tank. I've got some nice macroalgae. Let me show you what they look like. Here's a good example. They come in all different shapes, sizes, and colors, but there's a good example of a macroalgae. Beautiful, beautiful plant. That one I'll have to call back on. Isn't that pretty? Really, really pretty. And they grow really well. They're very easy to keep in a salt tank. All right, we're getting down to the wire here, guys. Once I figure out what to do with the mutts, I'll hit up your store. Yeah, Jessie is certainly a good source for pure strain guppies. I've had her fish and I appreciate them. She has good quality fish. Deborah Shear, do lily pads die back and then come back? Yes. I took a lily pad from a pond, put it in my tank, stayed for a while, died back, but a month or longer has not come back. Okay. Lilies, different kind of lilies. There are lilies that die back by virtue of the weather. It gets cold, the leaves freeze off, they die back. They don't really die back. The leaves just get frozen. The tuber remains, and when it warms up, it sends out more shoots. That's not a hibernation. That's simply uh, an inability of the plant to send out shoots to grow in effect in cold weather. So it stops producing shoots. There are other lilies that are tropical. And I frankly don't know enough about them to know if they die back or not. I don't know. I've had them, but not a lot of them, and never really paid a lot of attention. So I don't know about lilies. We need a lily expert on here. Somebody tell us about lilies. I've called up my farmer friend. Yeah, the colors on macroalgae are amazing. I have green, red, kind of a brown. I've seen yellow, white, pink. A lot of color, a lot of variation. Right now, about all I have is red. I do have green. The green is neat. I don't know if I can see if I can grab one. This is well, looks like a bird leaf. I'm trying to get a longer. Here we go. That's a macroalgae. It has roots that attach. You know what? It's not a macroalgae. It has roots. Macroalgae don't have roots. This has roots. The roots, however, attach to rocks. They attach to hardscape, the way a Java fern does. And this is a fern, so or looks like a fern. So maybe that's what it is. Pretty plant in any case. So I'll put it loose in there, and it'll float around, and it'll attach. It'll get stuck on something and start attaching to it. So here we go. We're Dunlap. Some lilies must have the tuber placed in a fridge for a period after dormancy. Looks like moss. Moss has roots. Certainly does. All right. We're gonna knock it off here. Give Jess a chance to come up, Jess and Rocco, and do their thing. Delighted to be with you all. Have a wonderful day. Love you all. I'll be back Wednesday. Wednesday morning at 9:00, same time. Take care for now. Happy Thanksgiving if I don't see you between now and then. And we're going to end broadcast.